Around midnight last Saturday night, I started having a chest pain. And I thought it was gas, it was acid, it was ulcer, and everything else you can think of. Within 4 hours, I was really begging for mercy. I could barely walk, and I finally decided to get into the car, and I drove myself to Boston Medical Center. When I got there, it did not take long. Within 2 hours, I was on the operation table, and they told me I had a heart attack. And from that point on, you know, under the machine, the experts were doing their things. They put a stent on me, and here I am today alive. Number one, I want to give thanks to God, but also give thanks to a population that has always been by my side and always stood with me. So don't be negligent about your health. Don't, especially for you black men. Don't be negligent about your health. You are never too healthy to check in with your doctor. You are never too healthy to really check in, if you live in Mattapan, with the Mattapan Community Health Center. Don't be stubborn, okay? Don't be stubborn, because the price of stubborn is death. That was part of my message. Welcome to each and every one of you. Mesdames et messieurs, bonsoir et bienvenue à vous tous ici à l'enceinte de Mattapan Community Health Center. C'est une ambiance qui sans pareil, côté que n'a demandé tout le monde pour vacciner jeudi. We have echoed it into the radio station, the social media, and everything else. The city has put all of its efforts out to really make this the day for Mattapan Square. And I want to make sure that you also have a mission, not just the government. You have a mission, and your mission is to tell your brothers and your sisters to come out there and be prevented by taking the vax. There is no issue about it. The naysayer will be saying so many things, but let's not fall into the categories. Let's stay in the categories of a community that's going to be healthy, and we need to boost Mattapan to that level. We have a special person in here. We want to say welcome to her. She'll have a chance to say a few words. Mayor Janey, the girl from Roxbury. Let's give it up for her. The Boston Public Health Commissions and the Mattapan Community Health Center, we want to thank you for organizing this and put it together. And the rest of the community partners for putting on today's event. Let's cry it out. Let's make some noise in the house. BPH and the city came up with this Day of Hope. Whatever language that you speak, it's almost behind me in here. So, si tu me dis espoir, you repeat espoir. You hear me say hope, you repeat hope. No matter what language that you speak, hope is what a nation is looking for. Hope is what we are focusing on. And hope is what's going to get us over the bridge. So be part of that team of hope today. We want to quickly summarize the events for you. Beside my introductions, certainly the BPH, we want to thank them. The folks who are out there who's been vaccinated and those who have came already, let's give them a round of applause. The media who's here, the sound engineer who is here, and guess what? If you leave here without taking a picture over there, you're in deep trouble. Because that represents the 14,000 lives lost in the city of Boston. So there's about 14,000 flowers in here that represent a friend, a father, a mother, or a son. So please do that for yourself. Are we ready? Are we ready? We ready to start this party? This is a health party, and it's a hope party. So let's call on Qual Valdez, the president and CEO of Mattapan Community Health Center, to address us at this time. Thank you.
What an introduction. For those of you who have heard me speak in the past, a few of you who have heard me speak, you know what happens when I have a microphone and an audience. For those of you who are going to hear me speak for the first time, this is what you're going to learn. When I'm given a microphone and an audience, my first message, first of all, is welcome. It is so exciting to have all of you here. I'm losing my voice because there are so many friends and family of the health center here. But what I always do is acknowledge our staff. The individuals who work in that building, in that health center, as well as health centers across the city and across the Commonwealth. That is the definition of courage. What we have seen through this pandemic is courage, determination. I am so proud to work with every single person that works in that building. That is where my inspiration comes from, and that's what makes me want to come to work every single day. And I want to point out, because of the individuals that work at Mattapan Community Health Center, we did not close during this entire pandemic. We were here for our community. We were here for our patients. Now at Mattapan, we like to be innovative, and we like to do things differently. So my introduction and welcome to the mayor is going to be just that. So certain things you do in an introduction, and we acknowledge the mayor's accomplishments, city council president, mayor. We respect her history. 4th generation Roxbury resident. And what I read about her is Boston through and through. But what I also learned about her is 2 things. So what I wanted to do was introduce the person, to welcome the person. And there were 2 words that stood out in all the articles I read. One of them was equity, and the other one was education. Every article that I read, all the research I did, these are the 2 words that stood out. That is what is happening here today. It is equity. It is talking and delivering a vaccination program that is equitable to every resident in Mattapan. See, we can't just deliver the vaccine Monday through Friday. We deliver it when it is convenient and it works for the residents who live in our communities. That's where the equity comes in. Education. There's so much disinformation out there. Disinformation that is well done, but it is still disinformation. And this is where the educational component. So the mayor's background in history is what this is about. It is about an equitable distribution plan. It is about making sure that every single person is making an informed decision. And what we know, every patient that comes into our building is important. Every person that works in the square, in Mattapan Square, is important. And every person that lives in Mattapan is important. Mattapan is important, and the mayor recognizes it. So, Mayor Janey, thank you so much for being here. This message that you send today, your presence, confirms the importance of everyone who lives in Mattapan, and to make sure that the right message gets out in a way that is culturally appropriate for the individuals who are receiving the message. My mom's first language is Spanish. If you want to convince her of doing something, you got to do it in Spanish. That's what we're doing in Boston. That is what we are doing in Mattapan. We will meet you where you are. We will meet you when it is convenient for you. We will deliver it in a language that is appropriate for you and that recognizes the cultural richness that makes up Mattapan. So, it is my honor, and it is my with gratitude for the support that we have received from the mayor's office, from every single person that's here, from every single person that is working to administer a vaccine. Because where we're at now, it's about a vaccine in an arm. That is the most important thing. And this message, it is not a message of fear. It is not a message of intimidation. It is a message of hope. And I want to point out, one of the things I was going to say is, it's cloudy today. But when this many people come together, and there's so much hope, the sun is shining on Mattapan. And I also want to point out that the sun is actually coming out. So I'm not sure quite how I timed this, but it seems to be working. So this is our message of hope. We asked for help. Mattapan asked for help, and our calls for help were answered. You are seeing that today. So I want to thank everyone for being here. We are always excited to have company. So it is with gratitude and my pleasure to introduce the 55th Mayor of the City of Boston, Mayor Janey.
Good morning, good afternoon. How's everyone doing? Good afternoon, how's everyone doing? Wonderful, wonderful. I want to thank Mr. Valdez for that warm welcome and for all the work that you do right here at the Mattapan Community Health Center. This is what it is about. It is about community. And it is about hope. So I certainly have to thank my dear friend Jean-Claude Saint-Non for his leadership in this community. Please give it up for him. I want to acknowledge and recognize Pastor Kiki for all of his work and making sure that we could get the vaccine out. Please give it up for him. You guys can do better than that, please. This is the day of hope. This is the day of hope. Yes. I want to acknowledge and thank a few folks who have made this possible. Certainly my sister in service and government, I'm so grateful for all that she has done in this community and for the entire city of Boston. Please give it up for State Representative Brandy Fluker Oakley. Please give it up. I want to acknowledge and recognize the Chief of Health and Human Services, Marty Martinez, for his leadership. Yes, indeed. Certainly the Boston Health Commission, all of the other city agencies that are represented here. I want to thank our community partners like ASG who are helping to make this day possible. I could get up here and I could recite a bunch of stats and depress people. What we know here in our community is that we are more than a statistic, right? We are more than a stat. And this is the day of hope. And we are about getting this vaccine out, this life-saving vaccine, to the people who need it most. And so while you say, Mr. Valdez, that Mattapan is important, I'm here to affirm that, a Roxbury girl to say, Mattapan matters. And we will not let Mattapan fall by the wayside. We will prioritize Mattapan in making sure that we are getting the vaccine out. This mobile clinic is an example of that. And this vaccine is saving lives every single day. And if we have to get the information out in different languages and making sure that it is culturally responsive and appropriate, that is the work that we are doing here in the city of Boston. I want to also recognize that we're joined by Art Gordon, who is representing our Congresswoman Ayanna Presley's office. Thank you so much for your partnership and leadership for being here. You know, we've made a lot of progress in the city of Boston. A year ago, it looked very different. We didn't know a lot about this pandemic and what COVID meant for our communities other than it was hurting us and it was disproportionately impacting the Black community, the Latinx community, communities of color, poor people, our senior citizens all throughout Boston. And so for me, when I stepped in as mayor of Boston, I knew we had work to do. And that began with ensuring the equitable distribution of the vaccine. And so in the very first week, we did a vaccine equity grant initiative so that we could get needed resources out into the community and meet people exactly where they are, partnering with different community groups all throughout Boston. And we are prioritizing communities that have been hardest hit. And so I'm just grateful to be here on this day of hope to say that Mattapan matters, and we're not going to stop. Even though we have the COVID infection rate down to historic lows, this is not the time to give up and think we've done all the work. We need to continue to ensure that every single person in our city has the opportunity to get the vaccine. And so the Day of Hope is about celebrating and building upon our assets as a community. We're not going to let people talk about us as if we're a deficit. We're going to build on our strengths, and our strength is our people, making sure that we are coming together to provide the resources and the support, whether that is food access, whether that is opportunity to get the vaccine. And so I'm just grateful to be here to continue this great work throughout the city of Boston over the summer months until we get every person vaccinated. And I want to thank everyone who is a part of that effort. So many people here today to make sure those who have questions or concerns, and I'll say a year ago I did as a Black woman, but I am trusting the science and the research, and I am coming together with everyone to say we can beat this. We can beat this if we get the life-saving vaccine and make sure that anyone who has questions gets the information that they need to make informed decisions to protect themselves, their families, their loved ones, and their community. So with that said, I'm going to turn the mic back over to my dear friend here. As you see the hat, trust the facts, get the vax. That's what we're here to do. We're here to lift each other up. We're here to promote hope. We're here to make sure that people can get the vaccine, and we're here to do the work together. So thank you so much, everyone.
Come on, let's make some noise in the house. This is the young lady from Roxbury who is here with us, the mayor of the city of Boston. So she's been tagging along and understanding the concept and trying to really get into every single immigrant's community in the city of Boston. Without any further ado, let's call on Pastor Kiki Fleurissin, who will say a few words to us at this moment. Make it a must. Call somebody to be here at the square. Call somebody to come here and get vaccinated. Make it a must. Today is the day of hope. Let's all of us really spread that hope and love together.
Thank you so very much, Jean-Claude. Jean-Claude is a miracle, is that right? So he's here with us after having a heart surgery a week ago. So let's give glory to God for that miracle. And also, we have the miracle of the vaccine that I'll be speaking about. I just want to acknowledge the Mayor Janey. Thank you for your leadership. And thank you also for your empathy toward the Haitian people and also the country of Haiti after the odious, horrific, heinous crime that happened in my country, the assassination of our president. So we know how difficult it is, and I would like just to thank the mayor and thank also all the elected officials and thank all the friends, allies of the Haitian community. Thank you so much. Continue to pray for Haiti. After all, there is hope. Is that right? There is hope for Haiti. Thank you. In the epistle of Paul to the Romans, chapter 12, verse 12, it says that, be joyful because you have hope. That's what we are doing today. Be patient when trouble comes. We are so patient. A year ago, we did not know what to do after a year. And what a difference 1 year makes compared to how it was last year. I'm talking to my Haitian people. Historically, we know that Haitians are very mistrustful of the government and also mistrustful of U.S. medicine, given the long legacy of abuse of Haitians by U.S. government institutions. But those community settings like this one, which are led by Haitians and offered in Haitian neighborhoods, are key to increasing vaccines opportunity. And I want to Marapen Health Center that stands right in the epicenter of the Haitian population, doing education, as you heard it from Wally, and also reaching out to all the Haitians. Thank you also for the partnership that has been developed with the city of Boston and all the grassroots organizations. I want to give a shout out to Chief Martinez. Thank you for your leadership. And the Department of Public Health, Margaret, thank you so much for all your help given to our community. Haitians are not in this alone. Other black and brown communities suffer health inequities. That's why we have come together with immigrant groups from Africa, Brazil, and other Latin American countries in equity now and beyond. I've heard that equity, extremely important to address vaccine and other health inequities together. We can't do this alone. It takes all of you to be able to be with us to do such wonderful and colossal work. Finally, while Haitians here and in Haiti are dealing with the trauma, as I said, of assassination, it is incumbent on the U.S. government not only to get the vaccines right here to Haitians in Marapen, but also in our home country. That is why we deal with the aftermath of this internationally organized crime. We need to ensure that all Haitians on our islands have access to the vaccine. We want to send a clear message to Haitians back home, telling them it is important to get vaccinated. As I said, we need to get back to normal, and for us to get back to normal, we need to get the vaccine right away, just to be sure that Haitians in Haiti understand the importance of being vaccinated. Not telling that the vaccine is a mark of the beast. Not telling that there is a chip infiltrated in all the vaccines to track down black people. But we need to get the facts, because Psalm 8 told us that God make man ruler of all things. We call our God omniscient, meaning he knows all the science. And my message to you, to my fellow Haitians, un nous vaccinés. Est-ce que vous entendez ça me dire? Un nous vaccinés. Répétez avec moi.
Un nous vaccinés.
Répétez avec moi.
Un nous vaccinés.
Get vaccinated. Thank you so very much.
The sun is up. Hope is alive. Before we wrap this up, there's a food truck back there. It's called Gourmet Creole. If you have never tasted the Haitian cuisine, you are in big trouble today. But you have to be vaccinated. You have to get a ticket in order for you to go and get the food. That's number one. Number two, anybody that you invite that comes out of here will get vaccinated, and they'll get a $50 certificate or gift certificate. They're gonna go to the market and buy food automatically. If they come with another person, that's 2 or 3 or 4, it's $150. So they can come here and get vaccinated and go directly to the American food basket, okay? Don't leave here without taking a picture with the 1400 memorial flowers that is there also, because it symbolizes our brothers and sisters, our family members who have passed away due to COVID-19. We want to thank each and every one of you for coming out here today, the company that puts the flower together, all the team that is out there really coming out and celebrate, the sound guy who have done, gentlemen from the media and ladies from the media, thank you so much. As a member of the media also, I understand your value and your importance of educating a community. Thank you for coming out. We want to thank Mayor Janey for coming out, the City of Boston, the Boston Public Health Commissions, Mattapan Community Health Center, and the rest of our community partners. As you are touring, networking, enjoying, we want to welcome you again to Mattapan Square. This is the eyes of the City of Boston. This is the first, when you're coming down from the South Shore, this is where you're coming into Boston. So this is the prize. This is also where you'll find the most African diaspora, right here in Mattapan Square. You can look for just about anybody from the African diaspora, you'll find them here. It has been a pleasure welcoming you, and I will invite you to go and take some pictures. Thank you so much for making this a nice event. Give yourself a round of applause. Mattapan, we love you. We're gonna get vaccinated.